They called him Uzor, the lion of Ajiro village, not because he ruled by crown, but because no one dared cross his roar. He owned half the land, half the men, and nearly all the secrets. If a man worked his farm, he feared him. If a woman saw his gaze linger too long, she feared for her peace. Uzor took what he wanted, even hearts that were not his to claim. And the men whose wives he touched bent their necks, for their children ate from his barns. But one day, a new farmhand came to Ajiro. Okoro was a quiet man who worked with his hands and spoke little. He cleared a wide patch of land behind the hill and built a small hut for himself and his wife, Chika, a kind of woman whose beauty brightened the eyes. When Uzor first saw her at the stream, he stopped mid-sentence. The women around her scattered. They knew that look. "Who is she?" he asked. "Okoro's wife," one whispered, eyes lowered. That evening, Uzor sent his servants with gifts, yam, salt, fine wrappers. But Chika refused them. The next day, he sent wine. She poured it away. The third day, he came himself, smiling like the sun after rain. "You live humbly," he said, circling her yard. "A woman like you deserves more than a hut and a hoe." "I have all I need," Chika replied, pounding yam with steady hands. He laughed, a deep sound that made birds flee from the trees. "All you need. Even when your husband eats from my farm." Her pounding didn't stop. "Then perhaps you feed us so you can test your strength against hunger, Uzor." His smile faltered. That night, thunder rolled without rain. The lion of Ajiro had never been refused, not by widow, nor wife. So he tried darker ways. He ordered Okoro to walk his farthest field, deep in the forest where the sun struggled to touch. 3 days' journey from home. But Chika was not afraid. Each night she lit a lamp and waited. Each morning she went to her farm and sang softly to herself. On the third night, Uzor came. He found her alone, the lamp flickering. "Your husband is far," he said. "The night is long." Chika stood. "Then perhaps you should walk home before dawn finds your shame here." He stepped forward. And suddenly, a spear flew in the air. It was Okoro. He returned early that night, carrying his hoe and his anger like twin flames. Uzor sneered. "Would you raise your hand against your master?" Okoro's grip tightened on the hoe. "Master," he said, the word bitter as cola. "A master feeds his people. A master guards what is sacred." He stepped forward, and for the first time since the world learned his name. The lion of Ajiro stepped back. You are a night thief. A vulture circling what is not yours." Okoro's voice rose like storm wind. "You thought I was far. You thought my wife was alone. You thought hunger would make me bow." His eyes hardened. "But tonight, you will learn what a man becomes when you corner him in his own home." The hoe lifted. And in that heartbeat, Uzor saw something in Okoro's eyes that shook his knees. A fire no ruler could command. Before the blow could land, the great lion fled. He ran into the darkness like a hunted animal. And the spear Okoro threw stayed buried in the hot wall. A witness, a warning, a tale carved into clay. Uzor reached his compound breathless. But fear reached there before him. Yet the village was not silent. A woman who had passed by the hill the night before had heard the shouts, the clash of pride and fury. Before dawn she told one neighbor. And by sunrise the story walked on 1,000 tongues. The man who once shook Ajiro with his voice hid behind his tall walls. Trapped in a prison he built with his own hands. And when a lion hides, even sparrows dare to sing. Men who had bent their backs for years straightened them. Wives who had swallowed shame finally let it go. The farmer whose land Uzor seized walked back and reclaimed it. The elders reopened matters he once murdered with a glance. And cleared new paths for trade and fairness. By week's end, the mighty lion of Ajiro sat alone on his carved stool. His strength leaking away like palm wine from a cracked calabash. His name, once heavy with fear, was now carried only in whispers and quiet laughter. As for Okoro and Chika, they returned to their peaceful farm behind the hill. Their yams grew, their goats fattened. And the village greeted Okoro with steady nods. The kind given to men whose courage needs no boasting. He remained a quiet farmer. But everyone knew. He was the protector. The man who stood when no one else dared. The one whose single, righteous throw ended a tyranny that had ruled a generation.